Homestead. Today we will be making basil walnut pesto. First, we're going to have 1.5 ounces of basil leaves, and I'm using a NutriBullet, but you can use any blender or food processor of your choice. We have 2 cloves of garlic that have been quartered, a 1/4 teaspoon of salt and 1/8 teaspoon of pepper, a 1/3 cup of walnuts, a 1/4 cup of olive oil, and then we'll be adding a 1/3 cup of Parmesan. You can use whichever Parmesan you prefer. You can use grated or you can use shredded. And first I'm going to put the salt and pepper in with the basil leaves. Now I'll add my garlic. My walnuts. My Parmesan. And then I will add my olive oil. And now I will put the lid on and I will blend. Now we have blended the pesto. So we're going to scrape this off here. And like I said, you can use a food processor if you want. I'm just using what I have available at the moment. I'm not trying to sponsor anyone in particular. But you want to get as much of it out as you can. And then you want to mix it up really well. The leaves have been blended up, but sometimes the cheese likes to stick at the top. And we want to get it really incorporated really well, so it's a good even mixture. And I like to use a spatula. You can use a spoon. I find that the rubber spatulas help get all of the little bits off the edges, so there's a lot less waste. Now what I'm going to do is aliquot into these little containers. They're 1/2 cup containers. We're going to put about 2 tablespoons in each. Some people like to use ice cube trays, and they just put a little bit in each section of the ice cube tray. And then once it's frozen, you can pop them out and put them in a bag or a container and keep them in the freezer. So I'm going to do this now. Try to get an even amount into each one. I may have to readjust. It doesn't have to be exact, of course. When you are ready to use your pesto, you can thaw it out. It can be overnight in the refrigerator. You can thaw it out in about an hour on the countertop if you wish. And some people enjoy putting it on their bread. I like to use it with a pasta dish that has seafood in it. And it's just, you want to coat everything really well. and it tastes wonderful. Okay, I'm going to get a little spoon. And you want to get it down in the bottom here as much as you can. And like I said, after it's solid in the freezer, you can pop them out and put them in a bigger container or a baggie. This will keep for at least 3 months very easily. I've actually used mine when it's a year old, and it was still really good. And the basil keeps the flavor because the flavors are trapped in the oil, so they don't evaporate out, and so your flavor isn't lost. I will be adding a little more to this one here. And then I can even this one out. This makes about 10 tablespoons. If you have a larger family that you're feeding and everyone loves pesto, you can always freeze 4 tablespoons at a time in a container, or just get 2 of the 2 tablespoons out. All right, that looks really good. So now I will put the lids on and I will label everything and I'll put them in the freezer.